Dear viewers, dear listeners, dear friends all over the world, dear children, a warm welcome. Today we are very happy to officially and formally announce the opening of a unique school, a universal school where all people, regardless of language, culture, or place of residence, come together to learn the meaning of life. This great school welcomes all people of all ages, from cradle to childhood, from adolescence through the prime of life until the age of departure. All will find their place of learning here. You might, of course, wonder, but where is such a school located? Is there one near where I live? And how can I find it and enter the school building?
You will see how easy it is to get there. The building is huge, infinitely large, but with a very familiar architecture, with endless classrooms for all kinds of activities and schoolings. Actually, the location of this school is nothing other than the whole earth, with its nature, with its forests and mountains, its rivers and seas, its clouds and the firmament, and all animal families and all people together. As you can see, the playground is really huge, and you will be able to have all kinds of games and exciting experiences and encounters.
As for the classroom, it will be the one you have chosen yourself, and that corresponds to where you live, work, spend your free time, or otherwise, where you come into contact with many people and comrades from whom you can learn a lot about yourself. So it is a school to learn about the universal life, that is, how we become free, peaceful, and self-confident people. We are given the days to achieve this goal, because at every moment of every single day, we can learn much that is invaluable about ourselves.
You may imagine that this school, with all its courses and opportunities, must be very expensive for you. But the training at this school is absolutely free. However, some days have their price. It might cost you something. For example, it might cost you some challenges and effort to recognize and overcome your not-so-positive sides, which hinder you from gaining total freedom. And that's exactly why it's worth it. And don't worry, there is no punishment if you fail at a task. And there are no grades or marks. Only happiness and joy about your own successful steps. At the same time, you will feel new vigor to achieve new goals.
Surely you are now wondering what criteria would have to be fulfilled in order to be admitted to this school. Do you have to take an exam? Here too, it's very simple. If you feel a deep desire to live in peace and in freedom, then you also want a good education that will enable you to develop all your talents and abilities so that you become a useful and dynamic person, actively involved in a just society, working for a clean earth that produces healthy food? If so, you are invited to join the class of your choice today. And you should know that you will not be monitored. The only test you should freely undergo is to look at your feelings and examine your conscience, so that you honestly know where you stand with the goals you have set for yourself.
Surely you are now asking yourself, but who is the school director who can lead a school of this magnitude? As for the director of this glorious school, you can reach him yourself at any time, for he is none less than God, our eternal Father himself, who, as you may already know, dwells within you.
But who are the teachers and professors at this special school?
Here you won't meet any experts, professors, or doctors who exclusively specialize in small areas. Here you will not learn any individual subjects, but rather it is a universal school where you learn about all aspects and correlations of life and beyond that. And most importantly, here you won't learn everything by heart and with your intellect, but you learn with your heart.
One of the most important guiding principles in the school of life is the golden rule of Jesus, the Christ. It says, "Do to others as you would have them do to you." Or, in other words, do not do to others what you do not want done to you. It is simply Christ, the Christ of God, who supports and sustains this valuable school in its entirety.
In this school, which is not of this world, we are guided and accompanied by a spirit being. She is called Liobani. Liobani is a teaching angel, that is, a divine being whose language is not the language of human beings, but a heavenly language. Let us perhaps read an excerpt in which Liobani introduces herself.
Dear child, you who are my sister or my brother, I am Liobani, a divine being who wants to advise you on your further path through life. You have heard correctly. I want to merely advise you and not to order or even to prescribe something to you, which you neither want to acknowledge nor do. Dear child, know that I am a free being of the heavens, and therefore not bound to any human desires and viewpoints.
These words of Liobani show us the spirit that prevails in this school, a spirit of freedom. What Liobani basically wants is only one thing: peace, peace, and again peace, and a world of harmony and health. She wants to bring us closer to the kingdom of God. Indeed, that is her greatest desire. Liobani teaches us how we ourselves can develop our consciousness in order to become free, and for this, she invites all of us to her school, the school of life that bears the name Liobani, the school for the New Jerusalem, for another time, under the sign of the Christ of God, of the love for God and neighbor. Thus, this school is not of this world, but for a completely different world, New Jerusalem. That is the world of freedom. That is the world of another spirit.
In our world of today, we are, on the other hand, so very occupied with cell phones, internet, and the television. In the spirit of this school, we could ask ourselves some questions about this right off, because questioning ourselves helps us to expand our consciousness. With the question, for example, is what we see in the media our consciousness, or is it the consciousness of others? Liobani warns us we should develop our consciousness, that is, freedom, and not simply accept the consciousness of others. Because what is spoken in the media and shown on the internet is the consciousness of others. And do we let that to be grafted onto ourselves in order to then eventually live like that? We should ask ourselves the question again and again. Do we want that?
If we're not aware of ourselves, of our own consciousness, then it's possible that we let ourselves be programmed by the internet and television. For what purpose? Do you know for what it is that you want to let yourself be programmed? For another world. Do you know the other world? Do you know what it brings you?
Liobani, however, leads us into the true life, into another world, where there is peaceableness and freedom and respect for everything that lives, and also respect for ourselves. With Liobani, we learn to let our consciousness expand more. We learn to develop a positive communication with our neighbor, which not only refers to our fellow people, because the animals, the trees and plants, the stones, and everything that lives is a part of it. They are also our neighbors.
Therefore, Liobani speaks another language that she wants to teach us. It is the refined language of light, of love, and of the life from God, which we encounter everywhere, in the smile of a friend, in the eyes of a little animal, in the freshness of water, in the warmth of a sunbeam, in the gentle breeze. That is the life and the all communication in everything. It is God, the life, that is in everything and also in each one of us. Indeed, Liobani wants to give us an understanding of the kingdom of God, but we are called upon.
So that we can come to grips with the school and its teachings, we have come together as a team of several students from different cultures and languages. And we would like to regularly read with you the content of the Liobani books and think about it with you. Perhaps you would already like to hear what topics we will cover. So, for example, among other things, Liobani teaches the little ones in a loving way how they can consciously come into communication with the divine spiritual forces, how through the right way of seeing, feeling, thinking and acting, they can grow into a fulfilled, truly spiritual life in the midst of the material world.
And for the children from 6 to 12 years of age, whereby many of these topics can also be a help for adults and children, for example, light and shadow in soul and person.
Another topic will be about the invisible thought beings.
Or about the incarnation of the soul.
Also, some practical topics, for instance, how one can become a capable and useful person.
Or something for the parents would be an upbringing that leads into positive thinking.
We will also learn about the invisible helpers and the nature beings.
We will also learn how to understand the significance of the law of sowing and reaping.
There are also games for young and old on training the senses, our concentration, and self-recognition. We'll also read nice stories from Liobani, for example, about the elemental spirits, about the forest spirits, or a story about a sly fox, and much more.
And for young people, there are various interesting topics. For instance, how we develop our capabilities, talents, and qualities. Another important help that Liobani gives is the day, your friend, the energy of the day.
Something else that's very interesting, the consciousness in you, the inner helper and advisor. Here we learn that Christ is in us and that He is always ready to give us His strength and help.
We'll also deal with our relationship to other people and with our behavior in the family, in our circle of friends, and in the community. One topic is conscientious and selfless behavior lead to well-being. Or another, the outer or inner values of the man and the woman. In another topic, Liobani says, the outer appearance shows what is within, home and clothing. Or, everything material is relative and transient.
This was only a small glance into the abundance of help and training by Liobani. We can again briefly say that all these topics contain various tasks for us during our day, so that step by step our consciousness can grow and we can become free, honest and happy people with positive self-experience. In doing so, Liobani always heartens us and asks, I explain. Will you join me?
In any case,
We'll
be there. And we would be happy when we come together again with you and with all of you for Liobani, the School for the New Jerusalem, for another time, under the sign of the Christ of God, of the love for God and neighbor. Until then, goodbye.
A warm welcome to all of you, dear viewers, dear listeners, dear friends in the free communities worldwide. From the abundance of divine revelations and teaching hours given in our time through the prophetess of God of the present time, the seraph of divine wisdom, we have selected a few pearls from which we would like to read some excerpts. One is a message of truth entitled, You the Animal, You the Human Being, which has higher values? It says here, Therefore, respect your animal brothers and sisters, the second neighbors, for they want to be your true friends. Strive to treat them as you would like to be treated. Then you will soon learn to understand them, and they will be in positive communication with you. Always remember what is essential. Those who want to have a peaceful environment must first become peaceful themselves. This is true above all for human beings, because they are the ones who have sown the lack of peace. The following sentence is part of the law of development for this earth. It holds true for the present and the future. If you want to live in peace with your neighbor, including with the animals, plants, and minerals, indeed, with the whole earth, then you must first become peaceful yourself. A person who strives toward this principle will become understanding and gradually attain a fine capacity for empathy and the recognition and perception that all life forms feel and perceive according to their spiritual degree of development. When I think about the sentence, treat the animals as you would like to be treated, I immediately have images in my head of cows, pigs, chickens in their barns, in slaughterhouses. When I realized the suffering that people inflict on animals by keeping them captive and slaughtering or hunting them, I stopped eating animals. I then had many opportunities to get to know animals better, including cows, sheep, pigs, and to experience their fine, sensitive, noble nature. You, the human being, you, the animal, which has higher values? The answer is clear to me. Being able to care for an animal, spending time with it, and practicing understanding it are real learning lessons and great moments.
Dear friends, we have heard about the animals, that they need our love and affection. And what about us? Who doesn't want to be loved and accepted? I would like to read a passage from the brochure, The Message of Truth, You Are Not Alone, by Gabriele. A help in learning to love. Begin on a small scale, in the family, in a small community. Learn to understand the other person. Listen to him without immediately interjecting your comments. You will soon realize that he is not at all what you may have thought he was, but may be fighting and struggling with something similar as you. If he needs help because he can't cope with some things, then help him without expecting recognition and thanks. These are small but often significant steps toward loving God and your neighbor. There are only a few sentences, but they are so concrete. These sentences have become a great help for me, not only to listen properly, but also to learn to understand my neighbor better. Because it also happens to me that in some situations or conversations, my thoughts are not fully focused, or that I can't keep my comments to myself. Then I say to myself, stop, look at your thoughts, be quiet, and listen. And it works. I can understand my neighbor better this way. Dear friends, surely you have had similar experiences. I think all of us can practice this in daily life. This way, we will come closer step by step to link and be. Until next time, God with us and we with God.
మీ ఓటు మీ బాధ్యత. భారత ఎన్నికల సంఘం అర్హులైన పౌరులను ఓటర్ల జాబితాలో చేర్చి అనర్హులు జాబితాలో లేకుండా ఉండేందుకు జూన్ 25, 2026 నుండి స్పెషల్ ఇంటెన్సివ్ రివిజన్ SIR ని నిర్వహిస్తోంది. జూన్ 25 నుండి జూలై 24 వరకు BLOలు ఇంటింటికి వెళ్లి ఎన్యూమరేషన్ ఫామ్ ని పంపిణీ చేస్తారు. ఎన్యూమరేషన్ ఫామ్ ని ఓటర్స్